Hey guys, so welcome back to another video, and today's video what I wanted to talk about was different mechanisms with coping with trigger foods, cheat meals and all the delicious foods that we are supposedly not allowed to have during a dieting phase. Now, I'm not talking about a specific dieting phase. This is going to include all types of different diets, whether that be a contest prep, if you're getting yourself ready for a photo shoot, a wedding, if it's just general body weight loss, or if it's specific to just fat loss, or you want to get yourself into a certain dress size, whatever it may be, this is what it's going to be revolving around. Now, the problem is the society that we live in, there's fast chain foods and processed foods easily available everywhere around us. So it's inevitable that we are going to have time to time peer pressure, temptations, and that constant pressure of having and wanting certain foods, the foods that we think are absolutely delicious and the best sensations ever. I always like to put things into perspective, and I think if you word things correctly and if you put things into perspective, I think more people will have like that eye-opening moment where they really sit there and think, oh yeah, now you said it like that and now you put it in perspective, it's like it doesn't seem as enduring as you first originally thought. So when it comes to dealing with these cheat meals and constantly having these trigger foods and delicious foods always around us, especially if our environment involves people that we live with that are not following the same diet as we are. So if we're living with our spouses, partners, girlfriend, boyfriend, or we still live at home with our family, and you're the one who's following this specific diet and you're trying to reach this end goal, and everyone else around you in the house is just eating what they want, so they're eating all the foods that you wish that you could have, and then you go to the cupboards, and in the cupboards there's all the foods that you love, you really want to have it. You constantly hear this where people always go, oh, it's so hard, I can't lose weight, I can't stick to my goal or stick to my diet because there's all this peer pressure around me, there's all this delicious food in the house that I live in. Now, at the end of the day, yeah, okay, the food is still there, but they're not alive. The food's not alive. It's not forcing you to eat it. You're choosing to eat it at the end of the day. That when people sit there and say, oh, it's so hard because there's all this food around me, realistically, what that individual is saying is, I don't really want to be doing this diet because I'd rather be having that delicious food. So the delicious food outweighs the want of my goal. That's practically what you're saying, but you don't want to put it like that because you don't want to admit to defeat. So if you put it in the sense of, oh, I want to do this, but it's really, really hard because all the temptation around me, it makes it sound less embarrassing and shameful for yourself, so to speak. But in reality, you just don't want to do it. That's the bottom line. Now, this occurs with everybody, even the people that actually make it to the end result. So those people that you look up to or people around you that you've seen reach their goals, whether that be fat loss or stepping on stage or getting themselves ready for their wedding or for a photo shoot, and you sit there and ask them, like, how did you do it? The simple answer that they will give you is because their want outweighed their temptation of wanting that snack or that treat or that trigger food, whatever it was. They really, really wanted to reach their goal. Their goal meant so much more than anything else. Their goal was their number one priority, and they would do absolutely anything to do it. And they did. That is the reason why these people make it. Because they are still just like you and me. They are human. I can admit myself that there have been times in my contest preps or during my improvement season where I'm trying to grow and I'm still sticking to my diet and sticking to my normal chicken and rice meals and my bagels and my oats, where I'm like, I wake up one day and I'm like, I could really do with a Ben and Jerry's today. Or in the evenings I'm sitting there and I'm like, I could dig into a pizza right now. But then I sit there and I reflect and I think, right, yeah, I do want this pizza and I would like this Ben and Jerry's ice cream, but is that going to help facilitate my process in getting to my result? Not so much. And then that's when it flicks the switch in my head and I'm like, well, I don't want it now, because that's not going to help me to get to my goal. So it's like, okay, I can have it in the moment, and for that acute period of time, I'm a bit satisfied because I've given my taste buds what they want. But then I'm sitting there and feeling guilty and overthinking because I'm like, did I really need that and should I have had that? Not really. That's not really going to help invest in my progress to get into my results. And that's all it takes. It just comes down to how much is your want. How big is your want to you? Like, your want for the goal that you want in life must outweigh anything else. It must outweigh those temptations. And this goes back to another thing as well. When people sit there and say, oh, it's just really hard because I can't have this and I can't have that. At the end of the day, you can have whatever you want. Nobody has forced this diet on you other than yourself. This goal that you're trying to achieve is your own goal. You have made this commitment and this decision to follow this specific diet to help you get to your result. So there's no such thing as you can't have anything. You can have whatever you want. But what you have to realize, what you're doing is temporary. It's not permanent. So if your goal is to lose a couple of pounds, or you want to get absolutely shredded and get yourself on stage, you're not going to be doing that for the longevity. You're just doing it for an acute period of time until you reach your result. And then you can eat the delicious foods that you want. It's temporary, not permanent. Remember that. Put it into perspective. And also another thing that I said as well, a minute ago, I was talking about how does the thought of having something for that 5 minutes of satisfaction outweigh my want and my goal? When you look at it, when people are following a diet for a contest prep, or again, whatever it is, and then they have those moments where they really want that food, they really want that cheat meal or that trigger food that they say is going to be absolutely delicious, are you actually going to be able to sit there and enjoy it in that moment? Probably not. Reason being is because when you have it, you feel guilty because you know realistically you shouldn't have really had that. And it's now going to step you back a little bit in reaching your goal. So it's like you can sit there and say, look, I'm going to have this because I do want it, but are you actually going to enjoy it? Because all you're going to do is you're going to sit there, you're going to overthink it, you're going to feel guilty, you're going to sit there and be like, right now, I need to make up for this, tomorrow I'm going to do endless hours of cardio. So even if you did cheat on your diet, are you actually going to enjoy that cheat in the moment? The likelihood of you enjoying it is very slim. So how I like to look at it, and again putting it into perspective, is whenever you have those moments, think, right, I'm really craving this food, I really want this cheat meal, or I really want whatever it is, but if I have it now, am I going to feel satisfied afterwards? Am I going to enjoy it in the moment? Or am I going to constantly overthink, feel guilty, feel really bad, and then I'm going to have to endure loads of cardio tomorrow? Because from a psychological perspective, you're going to feel really bad and you feel like you need to undo all that, fuck up that you've done and do endless hours of cardio. Put that all into perspective. Have you really enjoyed that cheat? Probably not. So why don't you, in those moments, say, look, I know I really want it, but I know I want my goal even more. But then once I've reached my goal, I can then have it. And when I do have that treat, and when I do have that cheat meal and that burger or whatever it is, I'm not going to feel guilty because I've reached my goal. I've made it. I've made it to the finish line. So now I'm relaxed, I'm calm, and I can reward myself with the food that I want to have. And you can actually enjoy it in the moment without having that guilt trip. So put all of these things into perspective, okay? When it comes to dealing with these cheat meals, stop sitting there and complaining and saying that, oh, everyone else around me is eating all the delicious foods that I want to eat and it's making it harder. It's not. You're just saying to yourself, I would rather have this food than achieve my goal. It's not hard. If you really wanted to achieve your goal, you wouldn't even care what other people are eating in your house. You wouldn't even care what's in your house because you know that you want to achieve your goal and you'll do absolutely anything to reach it. So stop using that excuse. It's a poor excuse. The other things that you have to remember is it's temporary. Every diet that you do is temporary. It's not permanent. The rest of your life isn't going to be like this, where you have to eat chicken and rice and broccoli and salads. It's a temporary thing until you reach your goal, and then you can look at moderation, incorporating your foods in moderation, all the foods that you want to eat, the the foods that everyone demonizes and classes as the cheap stuff and the unhealthy stuff. You can start chucking it in moderation. That's a whole different tangent and topic about dealing with moderation, portions, so you don't develop bad relationships with food. But regardless of that, coming back to the topic, and it's just saying that it's temporary, it's not permanent. Remember that. And lastly, if you are going to cheat during your diet, whether that be a contest prep or just general body weight loss and fat loss, are you actually going to enjoy that cheat in the moment? Probably not. So just get the job done and then reward yourself afterwards, and you'll enjoy it so much more. Or the other answer is don't diet. If you're causing yourself so much stress, so much overthinking and panic and frustration, then just don't do it. That's your best answer. Hopefully this video helped for those individuals that are dealing with like those temptations, the peer pressure, and if you're constantly, if you're currently in a contest prep or some sort of dieting phase, hopefully this puts things into perspective and helps you. If it does, let me know by dropping a comment down below. If there's any other questions that you want to ask in regards to relationships with food, eating disorders, bulimia, anorexia, or anything else, drop some questions down below, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks guys.